Welcome back to The Verdict. It's our election studios where we focus on all things elections. And so it's election eve, and we did ask you, yes, go ahead and send us an image of yourself with your permanent voter cards. Some call it democratic gate pass. It's what you can have your bragging rights when you do have your PVCs and you actually do vote. Well, we've since been joined by GT Ogunye, Channels TV's election consultant. Thank you for coming on again today.
Pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Also in Abuja, we still have Oluwole Osaze Uzi and Chidi Nwafo, who is a director of ICT for INEC. And at the moment, we were talking about, you were asking about what we needed to do to ensure we proceed with this?
Yeah, Mr. Osaze Uzi, I don't know if you can just quickly take us through. People may have forgotten, and you know a lot of apathy that you also made reference to as a result of the disappointment that people experienced last week. What should the voter be looking forward to when he or she gets to the polling booth? Just take us through it, please.
Okay, thank you. There are a couple of steps that all of us who intend to vote should be familiar with. The first is, of course, to have your PVC. It's important you do that because without your PVC, you're wasting your time. There's no point going to the polling unit at all. So when you have your PVC, you go to the polling unit. It will open at 8 a.m. If there's a queue, please join the queue. If you're the only one, good for you. You just show the first official you encounter at the polling unit, and he will look at the card to ascertain that the face on that card is yours, and that you are in the correct polling unit. If you're satisfied that you're in the correct polling unit, if you're not in the correct polling, he'll refer you. If he knows it, he'll refer you to the correct place to go to. If not, you'll probably have to use the platform to ascertain where it's supposed to be. Then you go to the next official, who will now use the card reader. My colleague, Pt.1 has a card reader here, and he'll use that card reader to ascertain that card actually belongs to you. You can have a card that shows your face, fair enough, but in INEC-issued cards, there's a chip embedded in the card, and this chip will be read by the card reader. So this is the process of actually ascertaining that card was actually issued by INEC, number one. Then number two, it will use the same card reader to ascertain that the card belongs to you, checking on your biometrics, because in each polling unit, all the registrants in that unit, their details are stored in the card reader. So if satisfied, if it shows that it belongs to you, then you now go to the next stage, which is the issuance and receipt of the ballot paper. And before they give you the ballot paper, the officer who's in charge will have to stamp with an official INEC stamp and sign that he has issued you a ballot paper. He will date it. So it's important that he puts the date of the election. So forget those things you've seen on social media. Yes, the person will sign and date it is fresh. He will now stamp, sign, and date it and give it to you. Show you how to roll it so that it doesn't smear and so that you can roll it properly. From there, you proceed to the voting cubicle, and that is where you indicate the choice of your candidate or political party. And you can use any finger you choose, your thumb or any other finger, to indicate. The place is small. All that's important is that you make sure that your mark does not extend beyond the boundaries of the party you wish to vote for. Thereafter, you roll it and bring it out, and then you drop it in the full view of everyone. In going to the polling unit, you're not allowed to take your phone or camera with you. That's one of the initiatives that we use against vote buying, vote trading, voter inducement. So you don't take that. You finish, and you can decide to wait after casting your vote, or you can decide to go home, come back later, because the results will be pasted at the venue of where the polling unit is located. If you like, you can take a photograph of that one. There's no problem with that. So basically, just if you decide to wait behind, you have to behave in an orderly manner and obey the instructions of the presiding officer, and be a reasonable distance away so that you don't clog up the polling unit.
Yeah, Mr. Ozi, could you tell us, because I know that in previous elections, INEC usually talked about this face. Have we passed that stage now? Or at this point that we are now, is it possible for someone to have two PVCs and use same to vote?
Well, I think that's why my colleague is here, is the director of ICT,
okay.
and he can speak more to that. But he will tell you everything that's possible and the things that are not possible.
Okay, Mr. Nwafo, go ahead then.
Yeah, thank you. We have run a office. And the fees is to make sure that we don't have double registrants or multiple registration. So if you're caught, if you have double registration and then the fingerprints are shown that you are there, it will remove you. However, there are issues that may happen where somehow due to maybe a very little percentage, 1 or 2 may cross that our FEs. We still do manual to see whether we can find that. And that's why we try to display. Again, no person that can have 2 PVCs. For instance, I saw 2 PVCs the other time, and it was a transfer. If you come in, you apply for transfer, and it's affected, you go into another polling unit or another state, we print a card for you. Maybe our staff in the state who's supposed to collect the earlier one do not collect it, and then they give him the new one. But in our register, that earlier one is off, and he cannot vote with that. So you cannot vote with your 2 cards if you are true there. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. But the AFIS, could you tell us, if you could shed a little more light on that? At what stage is it done? And after it's done, what do we expect? Do we expect them to paste it? What are those procedures afterwards?
Okay. For the fees, what happened is that when you finish registration at the polling booth, after you finish registration at the polling booth or at the ward level, that's what we consolidate the data. At that time, we're not running a fees. We consolidate the data at the state level, which means all registrations that were done in the state is consolidated. Take, for instance, Lagos State, for a particular section. Then when we have that, we now take it for AFIS. We run the AFIS for Lagos, for instance. That's what we call within that section, those that have registered. We run AFIS within them. If any person have done double registration there, we remove it. We also take that section that we ran, that have removed some people internally, that have done double registration internally, and we now take it to our main database to run it with those that have registered. So in a case, we're trying to make sure somebody who have registered before this time not to do double registration, and somebody that within this time we're doing registration not to do double registration. So after doing that AFIS, we also do what we call optimization process, where we check your data. If you don't have all the requirements like fingerprint and whatever, you can get a PVC. You can get into our register. But if we find out after running a fees, you are not there, we find out both internal and the one that's before, and you are not there and you're okay, we check all those business processes, you're okay, you're on the register, and we'll print your card.
Let me get your views on this still, Mr. Waffle, so that we can go a little practical.
Yes. Yes.
For some people, perhaps they will not even have the fingerprints on it, but let's get practical. I have with me, if we can get that displayed now, PVCs, but there are 2 belonging to 1 individual. And this is it belongs to Hassan Husseini Ishaya from Bauchi State. And the difference that we have on this one is where the PU is, which is Bogoro D and then Bogoro C. But every other thing, details apart from the code number, is the same. What happens in a case like this? Because these cards were issued by INEC.
Yeah, thank you so much. Out of those 2 cards, one is relevant. What that guy has done, without even going too deep, what he has done, and I've checked this, is that the guy requested for a transfer to another polling unit. So when you go to request for a transfer for another polling unit, all your details are the same, your fingerprint is the same, your date of birth, your age, everything is the same. What has changed is the movement to another polling unit. So that is only what is changed. Your picture remains the same. So what may have happened is that when he went to collect the second card, he did not submit the first one. As far as we are concerned, the latest one that has the transfer, which is on that date and the new code, is the only one that is registered. The other one has been taken off due to the transfer process.
So what features, for instance, do you have on the, should I call it now, the new card, away from the old card, that will just tell anybody who is watching that this is the genuine one now, and I cannot use this one which I previously had, and the level of awareness you have trained your staff out there in the field, will they be able to decipher, say, this is the new card now, and this is the old one, so if he goes to another polling unit to go and vote, he will be disqualified?
If you are talking about the person, he knows. But for us as the presiding officer, assuming he brings the old one.
Okay, Mr. Wafo.
The old one.
Mr. Wafo, just a minute. Just hang on. We need to go to a break now. But we'll come back and allow you to shed some more light on this matter. Don't go away.